Today we will tell you a story that began on a sunny March morning in 2023 and still has no logical conclusion. The story of the disappearance of Annika Mehta, a brilliant finance graduate from Columbia University, who was on her way to a job interview at a prestigious investment firm in Manhattan that day and never made it there. The last call to her phone came from her fiancé in India. What happened to her after she got into a black sedan on the corner of her street in Brooklyn, no one knows. Annika Mehta was born into a wealthy family in Mumbai. Her father, Ashok Mehta, owned a chain of textile mills, and her mother, Deepti, taught philosophy at the university. Since childhood, Annika has demonstrated outstanding abilities in math and finance. She was always the girl who calculated the tip in a restaurant faster than a calculator, her mother says in an interview for our investigation. We knew she would achieve something special. At the age of 24, after graduating with honors from Bombay University, Annika received a scholarship to study at Columbia University in New York. Her parents, despite their traditional views, supported their daughter's desire to go abroad. It was not an easy decision, Annika's father recalls, holding back tears. Many of our relatives did not approve of an unmarried girl going alone to a foreign country, but Annika always had her own opinion. During her 3 years in New York, Annika perfectly adapted to the American way of life, without forgetting her roots. Her one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, which she shared with her neighbor Priya Chandra, was decorated in a minimalist style with bright elements of Indian decor. On the wall were photos of her family and her fiancé Vishal Kapoor, a guy she had been dating since they were students in Mumbai. She used to meditate every morning in front of a small altar with Ganesha, Priya says. Annika ate a vegetarian diet, made incredible masala tea, and talked to her parents every day via video. Despite this, she was a modern woman with great ambitions. Vishal Kapoor stayed in Bangalore, working for an IT company. Their wedding was scheduled for December 2023 after Annika had to settle into her new job in New York and complete the paperwork for Vishal. We planned that I would move in with her after the wedding, Vishal says, nervously fiddling with the rosary in his hands. Our parents had agreed on everything when we were in our 20s. Lately, she's been talking a lot about the great opportunities that are coming up in her career. The day before she disappeared, Annika received an invitation to an interview at Lexington Capital, one of the largest investment firms on Wall Street. That evening, she celebrated the news with friends at the Taj Mahal Indian restaurant in Queens. She was happy, planning for the future, recalls her university friend Meera Patel. She was talking about a house she wanted to buy in the suburbs when Vishal moved out. She was telling him how she would show him America. The last recording from the restaurant's surveillance camera shows Annika hugging her friends at the entrance at 9:47 p.m. She was wearing an elegant white blouse, navy blue pants, and a small gold pendant in the shape of an elephant, an engagement gift from Vishal. On the morning of March 15, 2023, at 6:30 a.m., Annika woke up and did her usual morning meditation. This fact is confirmed by Priya, who heard her neighbor's calm breathing behind the wall. At 7:15, Annika talked to her mother via video link, showing her the suit she had prepared for the interview, a navy blue suit with a gray blouse. Everything was as usual, recalls Deepti Mehta. She told me about the questions she planned to ask at the interview. She asked her father's blessing. There was nothing to indicate anxiety. At 8:43 a.m., the house's camera captured Annika coming out of the entrance. She was wearing a business suit, her hair was in a neat bun, and she was carrying a leather folder with documents and a small handbag over her shoulder. She looked focused and confident. At 8:44, she stopped at a street corner. According to her cell phone provider, at that moment she received a call from Vishal Kapoor from India. The conversation lasted 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I just wanted to wish her good luck, Vishal explains. We talked about ordinary things. She said she had to go because her taxi had arrived. At 8:48 a.m., the corner store's camera captured a black sedan that looked like a private taxi pulling up next to Annika. She got into the back seat. That was the last time Annika Mehta was seen. She did not show up for her interview at Lexington Capitol, scheduled for 10 a.m. Her phone stopped answering calls at around 9:15, and her GPS signal disappeared right after she got into her car. The alarm was raised by Priya Chandra when Annika did not return home by midnight and did not respond to numerous messages. The next morning, she contacted the NYPD. "I knew something was up," Priya says. "Annika never turned off her phone. She never disappeared without warning. She always stuck to her plans." And so began an investigation that would uncover many secrets, deceptions, and dangerous connections in the life of a girl who seemed like the perfect Indian daughter. What happened to Annika Mehta after she got into the mysterious black sedan? Why did the last call come from her fiancé? And do we really know the people we love? When a person goes missing in New York City, the first 48 hours are critical, begins Detective Michael Donovan, who led the investigation into Annika Mehta's disappearance. In a city of more than 8 million people and millions of tourists, you need to act quickly before the traces finally dissolve into the urban chaos. Annika Mehta's disappearance was initially treated as a standard case. A young woman did not return home, did not answer the phone. The New York Police Department receives dozens of such reports every day, most of which are resolved within a day. Someone stayed with friends, someone spontaneously went on vacation, forgetting to inform their loved ones. But Priya Chandra, Annika's neighbor, insisted on an immediate investigation. "You don't understand," she kept telling the police officers, nervously fiddling with the bracelets on her wrists. "This is not a normal American girl who can go to a party and not come back. Annika is an Indian girl from a good family. We don't do that here. She would never disappear without a good reason." The first alarm bell rang when detectives contacted Lexington Capitol. A representative of the HR department confirmed that Annika Mehta had been scheduled for an interview at 10 a.m., but never showed up. She also did not call to inform about her delay or cancel the appointment. For someone who wanted this job, skipping an interview without warning was tantamount to professional suicide, Detective Donovan said. That was the first signal that something had gone very wrong. The second signal was the behavior of Annika's phone. According to the mobile operator, the GPS location was active only until 8:49 a.m., the moment Annika got into the car. After that, the geolocation signal disappeared, although the phone continued to work for almost half an hour until 9:15. This indicates that someone intentionally turned off the GPS function on her phone, explains NYPD technical expert Jason Wu. This doesn't happen by accident. You need to go into the settings and deliberately deactivate this feature. 3 hours after the missing persons report was filed, the police gained access to Annika's cloud storage, a service that automatically saved copies of her messages, photos, and contacts. The last text messages surprised the detectives. At 8:30 a.m., 13 minutes before leaving the house, Annika received a message from an unknown number. "The car will be waiting on the corner at 8:45, a black sedan. The driver knows where to go." Annika replied to this message with one word: "Thank you." Who could have sent her this message? Why didn't she call a regular taxi through the app like she always did? Detective Donovan asked Priya Chandra these questions. "I don't know," she replied, looking at the message. "Maybe the company she was going to for the interview sent a car to pick her up? They sometimes do that for important candidates." A check with Lexington Capitol refuted this version. The company did not send a car to pick up Annika Mehta. Meanwhile, in Bangalore, it was around 7 p.m. when Vishal Kapoor received a call from Priya with the news of his fiancée's disappearance. "He seemed extremely agitated," Priya recalls. "He was screaming into the phone, accusing me of not keeping Annika safe. Then he suddenly stopped talking and said in a very calm tone that he was flying to New York immediately." The next day, at 3:40 p.m. New York time, Vishal Kapoor arrived at the police station where he met with Detective Donovan. He was a tall, thin man with a neatly trimmed beard and tired eyes from the flight. He was dressed in an expensive business suit and wore a gold Rolex watch on his wrist. "My fiancée would never disappear like that," he told the detective. "We were planning a wedding. She was waiting for me to move in with her. Something happened. Someone made her disappear. The police asked Vishal to review his phone conversations with Annika in recent days. It turned out that on the day of the disappearance, after the morning call at 8:44, Vishal called her 5 more times, at 10:15, 11:03, 12:30, 13:45, and 15:20. I was worried, he explained. Usually she always answered my calls. When she didn't pick up the phone the second time, I started to worry. "What did you talk about during your last conversation?" the detective asked. I just wished her good luck at the interview. She said her taxi had arrived and she had to go. Detective Donovan noticed an interesting detail. Annika mentioned a taxi, even though the message on her phone said a black sedan. In addition, yellow taxis in New York are rarely ordered in advance, especially for a specific time. Meanwhile, Annika's parents, Ashok and Deepthi Mehta, also flew from Mumbai to New York. They arrived 2 days after their daughter's disappearance, exhausted from the 18-hour flight and tormented. "We went straight to Annika's apartment," says Ashok Mehta. "I was hoping it was some kind of misunderstanding, that she had returned and just forgot to charge her phone." Instead, they were greeted by their daughter's empty room, where everything was just as she had left it that morning. The bed was neatly made, and there was an open book on financial analysis on the table with a bookmark in the middle. On the nightstand was a small statuette of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity, in front of whom Annika used to burn incense every day. "It was like a stab in the heart," recalls Deepthi Mehta. "Suddenly, I realized that my child was not just delayed somewhere, but really disappeared in this huge city." A breakthrough in the investigation occurred on the 3rd day, when the police identified a witness. An employee of a Korean grocery store on the corner of the street where Annika lived recalled seeing a girl in a business suit getting into a black sedan. "It wasn't an Uber or a taxi," Kim Jong, the shop owner, said confidently. "Taxis have signs on the roof, and Uber always has a sticker on the windshield. It was a plain black car, like a Chrysler 300, and the driver, he didn't get out to open the door for her. He didn't even turn around when she got in." A review of the surveillance footage on the street corroborated Kim's testimony. The blurry video shows a black sedan pulling up next to Annika, her getting into the back seat, and the car immediately driving off. The quality of the recording made it impossible to see the license plate or the driver's face. "It doesn't look like a kidnapping," Detective Donovan commented after reviewing the video. "She gets into the car voluntarily. She doesn't look back. She doesn't show any signs of anxiety." Meanwhile, technical experts discovered another strange detail. Although the GPS on Annika's phone was turned off at 8:49 a.m., 3 text messages were sent from her number between 9 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. One was to Priya. "The interview will take a while, I'll be back late, don't wait." The second was to her mother in India. "Sorry, I won't be able to talk today, it's going to be a busy day." And the third one was to Vishal. "Don't call me today, I'm too nervous for the interview." "These messages are not written in Annika's style," Priya said confidently during the interrogation. "She never writes in abbreviations. She always uses full sentences with proper punctuation, and she always adds a heart emoji when she writes to Vishal." Annika's parents confirmed Priya's observations. Deepthi Mehta added an important detail. "My daughter would never just text me sorry. In our culture, it's disrespectful. She would always write, 'Mom, I'm sorry,' or 'I'm sorry, Mom.'" The police were also surprised by the following fact. A check of immigration records showed that Vishal Kapoor had arrived in New York not the day after Annika's disappearance, as he claimed, but the day before she disappeared. He arrived on an Emirates flight at 14:20 on March 13th and stayed at the Radisson Hotel in Queens under the name Vikram Kumar. When Detective Donovan confronted Vishal with these facts, he initially denied everything, but later changed his story. "Yes, I arrived early," he admitted. "I wanted to surprise Annika after her interview. We hadn't seen each other for 3 months. I planned to propose to her again, in an American way, with a ring and a restaurant." "Why did you choose a different name when you checked into the hotel?" the detective asked. I was afraid she might find out. We have many mutual friends in the Indian community in New York. Someone could have seen my name on the guest list and told her. The explanation sounded plausible, but Detective Donovan felt that Vishal Kapoor was hiding something. He was particularly alarmed by the groom's reaction when he was shown the mysterious message about the black sedan. He didn't look surprised, the detective recalls. He read the message and just nodded, as if confirming something he already knew. On the 5th day of the investigation, the police received a warrant to check Anika Mehta's bank accounts. The results were shocking even for experienced detectives. A week before her disappearance, she received $50,000 from an offshore company in the Cayman Islands. And the day before she disappeared, she withdrew the entire amount in cash, visiting 5 different branches of her bank in different parts of the city. This was not the Anika we knew, Ashok Mehta said in confusion when detectives showed him the bank statements. My daughter would never take money from strangers. And why would she withdraw such a large amount in cash? What began as a simple disappearance was turning into a tangled case with elements of possible fraud, ulterior motives, and dangerous secrets. What if Anika Mehta was not the perfect Indian daughter that everyone knew? We maintain the illusion that we know the people we love, says Detective Donovan thoughtfully, flipping through a small leather diary with the monogram AM. But it often turns out that even the people closest to us are hiding whole worlds from us. This diary was found on the 7th day of the investigation under the double bottom of a night table drawer in Anika's apartment. Priya accidentally discovered it when she was helping Anika's parents sort through her belongings. I didn't even know she kept a diary, Priya admitted. Anika always said that all her thoughts and plans were stored electronically, in secure files. The diary entries covered the last 6 months. Anika wrote irregularly, mostly when she was experiencing strong emotions. The last entry was dated March 10th, 5 days before she disappeared. Vishal was pressuring me again about the wedding. He said his parents had already booked a hall in Bangalore. But how can I plan a wedding when everything can fall apart at any moment? Ajay warned me. He says it's better to disappear now before it's too late. Maybe he's right. This was the first mention of the name Ajay in the investigation. Priya confirmed that she knew the man. Ajay Singh was Anika's classmate at Columbia University, an Indian guy from Delhi who had graduated a year earlier and was now working at a tech company in New York. They were just friends, Priya said confidently. Anika was devoted to Vishal. She trailed off, remembering other diary entries she had read earlier. The earlier entries revealed a complex picture. Anika described tense video calls with Vishal, during which he criticized her Americanization, forbade her to wear certain clothes, and insisted that she leave her career behind after the wedding to focus on her family. I can't tell him the truth, Anika wrote in January. I can't admit that I no longer feel the same way about him as I used to. This will break our family's hearts. They have invested so much in this relationship, in our future. And in February, the first post about Ajay appeared. Today I saw A again. We talked for hours. He understands me in a way that V will never be able to. With him, I can be myself, not the perfect Indian daughter or bride, but just me. The police quickly located Ajay Singh. The 28-year-old programmer agreed to meet at the police station without a lawyer, a rare move that immediately caught Detective Donovan's attention. I know why you're here, Ajay started first, nervously adjusting his glasses. It's because of Anika. I was afraid something like this would happen. During the 3-hour interrogation, a completely different picture of Anika Mehta's life emerged. According to Ajay, they met in a university course on financial modeling and quickly became friends. The friendship turned into a romantic relationship about 8 months ago, although Anika continued to maintain her engagement to Vishal. She was afraid of breaking off the engagement, Ajay explained. In traditional Indian families, it's a huge scandal, especially when families have already invested in the upcoming wedding. But it was not just about cultural traditions. 2 months before she disappeared, Annika confided in Ajay a secret that made him worry about her safety. She accidentally discovered that Vishal and his family were involved in some illegal financial transactions. She was working on a project for the university, analyzing international transactions, Ajay said, and she accidentally came across suspicious transfers from Vishal's father's company to offshore accounts. When she cautiously asked Vishal about it, he became aggressive and forbade her to meddle in the family business. Simultaneously with this interrogation, technical experts completed the analysis of Annika's laptop. In a hidden folder, they found several documents with detailed information about the transfer of millions of dollars from a textile company in India through a complex network of shell companies to banks in the Cayman Islands. We began to suspect that Annika had witnessed or even participated in a money laundering scheme, explains Detective Donovan. This could explain the $50,000 she received and withdrew in cash. When police contacted Meera Patel, a close friend of Annika's, she revealed another important detail. About a month ago, Annika told me that she might disappear soon, Meera admitted. I thought she was joking. She talked about a great opportunity that would allow her to start a new life. At the time, I thought it had to do with work or school. Now I realize that she could have been planning her disappearance. What shocked the detectives the most was Ajay's confession about his last meeting with Annika 3 days before her disappearance. She was scared, he recalled, holding back tears. She said that Vishal suspected something, that she was being followed. She talked about dangerous people connected to his family. I begged her to go to the police, but she said she had another plan. A plan that would protect everyone she loves. AJ also confirmed that Annika intended to break off her engagement to Vishal after she got a new job. She had already prepared a letter for her parents explaining everything, Ajay said. But now I think someone found out about her plans and beat her to it. Thus, the first real suspect appeared in the investigation, the fiancé, who flew in secret and lied about his arrival date. But is this enough to bring charges? Behind every disappearance, there is a story that began long before the event itself, Detective Donovan muses as he looks at the photos on the wall in the investigation room. Sometimes these stories stretch across continents and decades, intertwining people's lives in a tangled web. On the 14th day of the investigation into the disappearance of Anika Mehta, the case became international. The NYPD has established cooperation with Indian law enforcement to investigate the backgrounds of all the key figures in this mysterious story. Inspector Ramesh Kumar of the Bangalore Police took over the Indian part of the investigation. A tall, lean man with a piercing gaze and a reputation for integrity, he personally took on the task of vetting the Kapoor family. You can't understand the essence of an Indian family without going back 3 generations, Inspector Kumar explained in a telephone conversation with Donovan. What happened to the grandfather or father determines the fate of the son. It turned out that Vishal's father, Surendra Kapoor, was not just a successful businessman, as he was presented in conversations. As early as 2010, his name was implicated in a major corruption scandal involving government construction contracts. Although the charges were officially dropped due to insufficient evidence, everyone in Bangalore's business circles knew about his dubious connections to politicians. We have an unrecognized cast of untouchables in the opposite direction, Inspector Kumar said ironically. People who cannot be held accountable because of their connections. Surendra Kapoor is one of them. A more thorough investigation revealed that over the past 5 years, Surendra's company, Kapoor Textile Exports, has dramatically increased its international operations, mainly with partners in the UAE and Singapore. According to the Indian tax authorities, the company's official profit grew 7-fold, which is atypical for the textile industry, which was stagnating during this period. When a business suddenly starts to flourish for no apparent reason, we always ask the question, "What is this company actually selling?" commented Inspector Kumar. At the same time, detectives in New York made an important discovery. While checking Anika's connections, they drew attention to her paternal uncle, Vijay Mehta. who had been living in the United States for more than 20 years. Vijay Mehta, unlike his brother Ashok, chose a path that was atypical for an Indian family. Instead of staying in the family business, he emigrated to America in the 90s and started his own business in Manhattan's jewelry district. The diamond business is a special world, explains FBI Special Agent in Charge Rachel Cohen, who joined the investigation. It's a closed community where million-dollar deals are still made with a handshake. And unfortunately, it's a perfect environment for money laundering. According to the FBI, Vijay Mehta's company, VM Diamond Trading, has repeatedly come to the attention of law enforcement agencies due to suspicious transactions. Although no formal charges have ever been filed, Vijay Mehta's name has been mentioned in several investigations related to diamond trafficking. The most interesting thing is that Vijay Mehta's company has done 3 major transactions in the last year with a firm in Singapore that is a partner of Kapoor Textile Exports, said Agent Cohen. This creates a direct financial link between Anika's uncle and her fiancé's family. When the detectives asked Anika's parents about her relationship with her uncle, they discovered another strange detail. Vijay and Anika hadn't spoken for years, Ashok Mehta claimed. There is a long-standing enmity between me and my brother. He cheated me during the distribution of my inheritance. My daughter knew that I did not approve of any contact with him. However, a check of Anika's phone records showed that she had met with Vijay Mehta 3 times in the month before her disappearance at a coffee shop near his office in the Diamond District. The last meeting took place just 5 days before her disappearance. Detective Donovan personally visited Vijay Mehta in his office, a small but luxuriously decorated space on 47th Street. The thin, elegantly dressed man of 60 initially denied any recent contact with his niece. "I haven't seen Anika in 5 years," he said confidently. "My brother did everything to separate her from me." When the detective showed him the surveillance photos of him and Anika entering the coffee shop, Vijay abruptly changed his tone. "Okay, we met," he reluctantly admitted. "Anika found me on her own. She said she wanted to learn more about family history. I thought that a grown woman didn't need her father's permission to talk to her own uncle." Further analysis of the photos on Anika's phone revealed something extremely interesting. A hidden folder contained photos of documents taken secretly, at an angle, as if the owner had taken them unnoticed. These were contracts between Vijay Mehta's company and a firm in Singapore, as well as internal financial reports. She was collecting evidence, Detective Donovan concluded. The only question is, against whom? Meanwhile, Inspector Kumar from Bangalore sent another important piece of information. He interviewed Vishal Kapoor's friends and found out that he was not the devoted groom he had presented himself to be. His close friend Rohit Sharma admitted that Vishal had been seeing other women throughout the engagement, the inspector said. Moreover, Rohit claims that Vishal repeatedly said that he needed to marry Anika because of some family arrangements. A review of Vishal's financial transactions revealed that a week before he left for New York, he withdrew a substantial amount of money from his bank account, the equivalent of $30,000. According to bank documents, he explained this as engagement expenses. The most disturbing finding was the video surveillance footage from the Radisson Hotel in Queens, where Vishal was staying. On the evening of March 14th, the day before Anika disappeared, a visitor came to his room, a middle-aged man, well-dressed, carrying a briefcase. This man spent almost an hour in Vishal's room. Analysis of the image using a facial recognition program yielded an 85% match with Vijay Mehta, Anika's uncle. "We have a groom who secretly flies to New York and meets with his fiancé's uncle, who she theoretically doesn't talk to because of a family feud," summarized Detective Donovan. "And the next day, this fiancé disappears. It can't be a coincidence." When the police tried to question Vishal Kapoor again about the matter, it turned out that he had already left his hotel and disappeared. His phone was turned off, and his flight back to India, booked for the following week, remained unused. The conspiracy theory was gaining momentum, recalls Detective Donovan. "We began to suspect that not only individuals were involved in Anika Mehta's disappearance, but a whole network of people connected by financial interests and family secrets. In criminal investigations, there comes a time when the individual pieces of the puzzle suddenly come together to form a complete picture, says Detective Donovan, spreading the documents on the table. For the Anika Mehta case, that moment came on the 18th day of her disappearance. Vishal Kapoor's disappearance was a turning point in the investigation. He went from being a suspect to a fugitive, which gave the police grounds to obtain a warrant for full access to his electronic devices and bank accounts. People don't run away for no reason, the detective said, especially those who pretend to be an anxious fiancé who has flown halfway around the world to find his beloved. Technical experts found an encrypted folder with financial documents on Vishal's laptop. Once decrypted, investigators were presented with a complex scheme of international transactions that crossed 3 continents. This is a classic trade-based money laundering model, explains FBI Special Agent in Charge Rachel Cohen. The company in India overstates the value of the exported goods, and the foreign partner pays officially through the banking system. The difference between the real and declared value is the laundered money. Vishal's documents detailed how his father's textile company in Bangalore shipped consignments of fabrics to Singapore at a price that was 3 times higher than the actual value. The Singapore company then sold the goods at their real value. The net profit was withdrawn through a system of shell companies in the Cayman Islands, from where part of it was returned as legitimate investments. The key link in the American part of the scheme was VM Diamond Trading, a company owned by Vijay Mehta, Anika's uncle. Diamonds are ideal for money laundering, Agent Cohen continues. Their high value for their small size, subjective quality assessment, and the traditional lack of transparency in the market create perfect conditions for financial manipulation. Vijay used his company to convert dirty money into diamonds, which were then sold for cash or through legal channels with official invoices. The FBI estimates that over $40 million has been laundered through this scheme over the past 3 years. But the biggest surprise for investigators was that among Vishal's papers, they found a transcript of a conversation with Anika, dated January 2023. It made it clear that Anika had accidentally discovered the scheme while working on a research project at the university, analyzing international trade statistics. "I know what your father does," she wrote to Vishal, "and you know that I know. We can continue to pretend that nothing is going on, but this lie will poison our marriage from the start." In response, Vishal did not deny her accusations, but begged her not to interfere. "This is a family business that has been running for decades. You don't understand how things work in the real world. Your own uncle is part of this system. After the wedding, you will become part of the family and realize that sometimes you have to turn a blind eye to certain things." Later reports showed that Anika not only knew about the scheme, but also began to gather evidence. In March, she wrote to Vishal, "I made copies of all the documents. If anything happens to me, they will go to the FBI." This message seemed like a premonition or a warning. The breakthrough in the investigation came when technical experts found a recording from the Lexington Avenue Bank's surveillance camera in Anika's cloud storage. Anika had uploaded the video herself 2 days before she disappeared. The recording shows her meeting with a man in a business suit and handing him a small object that looks like a USB flash drive. "We were able to identify the man as Rahul Verma," Detective Donovan said. "He turned out to be Vijay Mehta's business partner, co-owner of several jewelry stores on 47th Street. Rahul Verma was arrested the next day at his office. During the search, the police found a flash drive in his safe that contained copies of all the documents previously found in Anika's laptop, as well as several audio recordings of conversations between Vijay Mehta and representatives of the Singaporean company. During the interrogation, Verma initially denied any illegal actions, but after being presented with the video from the bank, he changed his position. "Yes, she gave me a flash drive," he admitted. "But it wasn't blackmail, as you think. Anika wanted to protect herself." According to Verma, Anika accidentally discovered the scheme and found herself in a dangerous position. She knew too much to be left alone, but she was too decent to become an accomplice. She collected the evidence as an insurance policy, Verma explained. She said all she wanted was to be left alone and to start a new life. Meanwhile, an analysis of Annika's laptop searches confirmed that she had been actively seeking information about changing her identity and living in Latin America. A month before she disappeared, she was browsing websites about immigration to Mexico, learning Spanish through online courses, and even looking for a job as a financial analyst in Mexico City. She was planning to escape, Detective Donovan summarized. The question is whether she was able to carry out that plan. The most startling discovery awaited investigators when they checked airline databases. 2 days before the disappearance, an economy-class ticket was purchased in the name of Sonam Sharma for a flight to Mexico City, departing at 14:30 on March 15th, the day Annika disappeared. The passport data did not match Annika Mehta, the detective explains. But when we showed Annika's photo to the airport staff, 3 of them recognized her as the woman who checked in for that flight. Surveillance cameras at JFK Airport captured a woman who looked similar to Annika, but with shorter hair and glasses, going through security at 1:05 p.m. on the day of her disappearance. The quality of the recording did not allow for a 100% identification, but the resemblance was striking. We began to consider the possibility that Annika had staged her own kidnapping to escape the dangerous ties between her family and her fiancé, says Detective Donovan. But that theory was shattered when police found a bloody blouse in a rented storage unit in Queens, registered to Rahul Verma, that, according to DNA testing, belonged to Annika Mehta. The blood was fresh, less than 3 weeks old, the forensic expert confirmed. The nature of the stains indicates a serious wound, possibly fatal. Under pressure from the evidence, Rahul Verma finally told his version of events. She knew too much. Vijay was panicking. Vishal was too. They were afraid she would go to the authorities. I was only supposed to take her documents. No one was supposed to be harmed. The police immediately began searching for Vijay Mehta, but he disappeared from his home on Long Island, leaving the safe open and the drawers with documents empty. The web of lies began to unravel, summarizes Detective Donovan. But the main question remained unanswered. Where is Annika Mehta? Is she alive or dead? And who got on that plane to Mexico at the last minute? The most complex crimes are often solved by the simplest methods, says Detective Donovan, opening a folder labeled Meta. In Annika's case, the most important clue came from the place we least expected. On the 24th day of the investigation, a small package with no return address arrived at the New York City police station. Inside was just a USB drive with a lotus-shaped sticker on it. Technical experts checked the device for viruses and found a single file, a video recording lasting 8 minutes and 23 seconds. Annika Mehta appeared on the screen. She was sitting at a table against a white wall. The date on the video showed March 10th, 5 days before she disappeared. If you are watching this video, it means that my plan did not work, she began in a calm voice. My name is Annika Mehta, and I want to tell my story while I still have the opportunity. Over the next 8 minutes, Annika detailed the entire money laundering scheme, which involved her future father-in-law's company in India, intermediary firms in Singapore, and her uncle's diamond business in New York. She named all the key participants and described her role in exposing the scheme. I discovered it by accident, Annika explained. While working on a study for the university, I noticed statistical anomalies in textile exports from India. When I shared this with Vishal, he brushed it off at first, but something in his reaction made me dig deeper. According to her, Vishal's concern prompted her to check his father's company's financial reports, which she found on his laptop during one of his visits to New York. I realized that my wedding was not just a marriage between two lovers, Annika continued, her voice trembling. It was a business deal between two families. My uncle Vijay needed a reliable partner in India for his operations. Surendra Kapoor was looking to enter the American market, and I was just a bargaining chip. Most shocking was Annika's admission that her own father, Ashok Mehta, knew about her brother's illegal operations, although he was not involved. "My father wanted to protect me," she explained with tears in her eyes. "That's why he insisted on marrying the Kapoor family. He thought that if I became part of their family, I would not be hurt if the scheme was ever revealed." Annika went on to describe how she decided to use the evidence she had gathered to blackmail her, not for money, but for freedom. "I just wanted to leave," she said, "to start a new life away from this lie. I told Vijay and Vishal that I would give them all the evidence in exchange for money for a new start. The $50,000 Annika received in her account was a down payment. She was to receive another $200,000 in cash on the day of her disappearance, after handing over all the evidence. "Tomorrow I will meet with Rahul Verma," Annika said at the end of the video. "He will take me to a private airfield where I will hand over the last of the evidence to Vijay and get the rest of the money. Then I will fly to Mexico under the name Sonam Sharma, with the new documents they have prepared for me." Her last words sounded like an eerie prophecy. If you see this video, something has gone wrong. Perhaps they decided it was cheaper to take me out than to pay me. Whatever the case, the truth is now known. The video was a turning point in the investigation. In less than 48 hours, police obtained arrest warrants for Vijay Mehta, Vishal Kapoor, and Rahul Verma on charges of money laundering, fraud, and possible involvement in the disappearance or murder of Annika Mehta. Rahul Verma, already in custody, agreed to a plea deal with the investigation in exchange for a reduced sentence. His testimony revealed the details of the fateful day. "Everything was supposed to be simple," he said. "I was supposed to pick Annika up from her home, drive her to a private airfield in New Jersey where Vijay was waiting. She was supposed to hand over the last piece of evidence, get the money, and fly to Mexico. But the plan changed when Vishal unexpectedly showed up in New York. He found out about the deal and insisted on participating, fearing that Annika might deceive them. When we arrived at the airfield, not only Vijay was there, but Vishal as well," Rahul continued. Annika was shocked. They started to argue. Vishal accused her of betrayal, demanded that she return all copies of the documents. He did not believe that she had given all the evidence. According to Verma's testimony, Vishal grabbed Annika's bag, looking for flash drives or documents. A fight ensued, during which Annika hit her head on the edge of the table. "There was a lot of blood," Rahul said in a shaky voice. "Vijay panicked. He said we had to remove the body." However, when the detectives asked about the body's whereabouts, Rahul's testimony became confused. "I don't know for sure," he claimed. "Vijay told me to leave. He said he would take care of everything himself. The last time I saw Annika, she was unconscious, with blood on her face, but she was breathing." The search at the private airfield revealed traces of blood that, according to DNA tests, belonged to Annika, but no body was found. The situation was further confused by the testimony of a Kennedy Airport employee who recognized Annika in the photographs. He insisted that he had seen her that day when she was boarding a flight to Mexico City. "I remember her well," he claimed. "She had a scratch on her cheek that she tried to hide with makeup." On the 30th day of the investigation, Vishal Kapoor was detained at the Mexico-US border when he tried to enter Mexico with a fake passport. During interrogation, he claimed that he was looking for Annika, who he said had staged her own disappearance to get money and escape. "She deceived all of us," Vishal insisted. "She used our story, our feelings, to get money and disappear." Vijay Mehta remained elusive. According to Interpol, he was last seen in Dubai, from where he likely moved to a country without an extradition treaty with the United States. "The biggest mystery in this story is the fate of Annika herself," concludes Detective Donovan. "We have blood, evidence of a brutal fight, but no body. We have witnesses who saw a woman who looked like her at the airport, and we have the testimony of Vishal, who claims she is alive. The fate of Annika's parents remains unresolved. Their daughter's testimony cast doubt on Ashok Mehta's innocence. Although no direct evidence of his involvement in the money laundering scheme was found, His knowledge of his brother's illegal transactions and the use of his own daughter as a bargaining chip in a business marriage raises serious ethical questions. 6 months after Anika's disappearance, the U.S. consulate in Mexico City received a visa application from a woman named Maria Gonzalez. The photo in the application was blurry, but the face recognition algorithm showed a 67% resemblance to Anika Mehta. Before the authorities had time to verify this trail, the statement was withdrawn and the contact number disconnected. Sometimes the most important part of an investigation is recognizing that some mysteries may remain unsolved, concludes Detective Donovan. Will we ever find Anika Mehta? Will we ever know what really happened at that airfield? Maybe. Or maybe she got what she wanted, the freedom to start over, away from lies and dangerous family ties. Our investigation is coming to an end, but the search for the truth continues. Somewhere in the world, the woman once known as Anika Mehta may have started a new life. Or perhaps her body is still waiting to be found and given a proper burial. Either way, this story reminds us that sometimes the most dangerous threats come from those we consider closest to us.